Please be advised that some of the contents we discuss on this show are of a sensitive nature and may not be advised to be watched by sensitive viewers. Real and Raw is sponsored by Dreamstream. If you feel you want to support us directly and get our ad-free episodes, please subscribe on the link below. Sanibonani Mzansi, it's your girl Anastasia Wakakombi. Namhlanje we are talking about a rather sensitive topic that is mostly ignored by many people. Who heals the healers in our community? We've got Umkhulu in the station. Ukuthi azokhuluma kabanzi ngathi about that. Welcome Khulu.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
Unjani?
Ngiyaphila njani siswa?
Ngiyaphila. Namhlanje sizokhuluma ngodaba olubanzi that is very rather sensitive to many people, but we kind of go to ignore it and feel like, ah, no, it's just not one of the topics that we want to talk about. But before we get there, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? Ubani Umkhulu Tau, and then indawo Nyanga, how did you become Inyanga, and then what happened?
Okay. So my real name, my actual name is Katlego Lesotho, and I am a film student at AFDA.
Okay,
So I major in
nice.
directing and producing, and I'm also a radio and podcasting graduate, so I do radio as well. And then my journey of becoming a healer, I think we've always known that there is a calling.
Okay.
But due to, unresolved matters, that's our life. I was just like, I'm not ready to hit the task. I'm not ready to fully be in this space. So to cut the long story short, after a couple of illnesses and not feeling well, I think I finally accepted who I am, and then Nilana Manj, sing Lana Manj.
That's nice. So you're talking about the acceptance stage. So for somebody who's out there and saying, but you're saying I eventually accepted this, was it a moment of you just had to accept it, or there were things that were actually pressing to say, I can't take this anymore? It's either I take this or it's going to be a problem for me.
I think gula, and then you are incapable of taking care of yourself, and you're incapable of being human. That's when it starts to become a problem. So in my case, my own personal experience, bengula kakhulu, and it affected my schooling career as well. I wasn't as productive as I used to be. So me getting to the point of acceptance was me saying, okay, I'm doing this to get better and to also heal my ancestral trauma, because they go hand in hand.
Okay.
Yebo.
Oh, you said something rather profound to say, I've always known this calling was there. So, you just graduated from high school, we are university. Obviously, you want to blend in with your peers. But does this thing now you realize, I'm different from everybody? How does that emotionally affect you? How do you deal with it emotionally to say, okay, I still want to kind of at that groove stage where I still want to live life, enjoy the tertiary life, just be out there.
So I think with me, like me saying I've always known goes back to ever since high school, I've always been a loner. Yabo. So massing figure tertiary, it was no longer a problem, because now I was at a point where I was like, okay, I've accepted this is who I am. It could also be a personality trait. So I've never really had a problem with not being around people. And then in terms of blending in, because of the work I do, I force my personality to come out. So my personality overcompensates, because now I realize I'm different. I operate in a different sense. People don't understand me. My job is to not even educate them, but to also give them space to say, okay, I know I'm different. All right, let me just do my
I'm
thing.
okay with
and I'm okay with it, because massing filagati, I have to be oppressed. It becomes a problem, because then I can no longer be who I really am. But the people that are around me, that are my age, they do understand ukuthi, yes, you can have ubuhlali, but you can still go out. It doesn't mean just because you have ubuhlali, now your life must stop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're still going to go to that one to say, how is the life after Uktwasa? So, uyagula, you in and out of hospital, you're not okay, you're just like, your lifestyle is just changing. You're feeling, this is enough. What happens? Do you wake up one morning, you go to say, hi, your twasala, or waboni, so what happened?
And yeah, I thank you for that question, because I think a lot of people, they don't really understand the depth of a calling. Maune bizo, it manifests in stages. There's step 1, there's step 2, there's step 3. Mina ngadlula step 5. Ngafika ku step 7 and I was like, okay, these things came to me in a dream. Your ancestors communicate profoundly with you. They tell you what you have to do and how you have to do it, and you just have to follow instruction. So you don't just wake up and say "Nyongene phehlweni." It's not your choice to make. It's their timing. You're just a vessel. So you just listen to them and you listen to the instruction and you go where you are told to go. You don't just decide ukuthi namhlanje ngiyavuka ngiyothwasa ngiyongena ephehlweni yakazi bani bani. No, you have to listen to that sacred message that they give to you, because only you will know it. Other people won't know it. Other people won't understand it. Only you know it and they know it. So you have to find a way of merging it and making it make sense to you so that uhambe phehlweni, uhambe and get help and then you'll be right.
Okay, ngiyakuzwa kok mkhulu, in actual fact that's what I
Yes,
wanted to say. And then there comes a stage where uyahamba uye phehlweni. And I think most people, what they do, I think I should call it a mistake.
Yeah.
Uyahamba uye emntwini who says you've got a calling. So what are you saying to those people? You need, the communication has to be through you first. As much as it will be confirmed by somebody else, confirmed somewhere else to say, "Sibona ngathi unobizo," but it has to be communication that comes through you now to, as affirmation to say, they are talking to me and I can hear or I can see things.
Yes. I think in my experience, lang hambe ngayo check out into zamkhon. Idlos lam already mangena. They were already activated. So there were certain things that were happening to me that I obviously cannot disclose because of privacy.
True.
During that time that happened, and nyabona ukuthi in a normal sense, this is the right place for me. And then after the consultation, that's when I realized ukuthi, okay, it's not my choice to make. Yibo that chose this place for me. I just happened to arrive at that place.
But it was the chosen place in
Was
actual
the
fact. for them.
chosen place, and then that's why so many things made sense to me after ngingene phehlweni, and then that's where everything began.
So ungenile phehlweni, you go through the stages that you have to go through, and then uyaphuma phehlweni, or throughout ukuphuma kwakho phehlweni. Now it means you need, or even through the training, you're consulting with people that come with problems. Where do you go, njengomkhulu, to say, okay, I had a hectic day today? Who do you talk to? Do you feel there's enough space, enough room for abomkhulu nabogogo to have that environment where they can vent out with somebody? Hence today we're talking about who heals the healer, because you are always on the giving end. People are receiving, but does it come to a point where somebody actually says, okay, these people are still people after all?
I think the one thing, mangene phehlweni, the rules and regulations that you're given, they make you kind of see ukuthi now you will always be a giver. No one will give to you. So that means I have to give to myself. Ukatlego has to give to umkhulu.
True.
They both have to be in unison and in agreement. Ukuthi will give each other. So there's no external validation. There's no external help that can help you to kind of come back to yourself and say, after a rough day, who do I vent to? What do I do? What then happens to Ukatlego? Because remember, I'm still me. It's just that I'm a vessel. And then in an environment, I'm expected to be a vessel. But then when do I get time to look at? That's when now I find coping strategies that, you know, that bridge the gap between Western medication and traditional healing. Even if you're a healer, you can still journal. You can still meditate. You can still do yoga. There are certain things that I do personally that help me come back to myself, even as far as therapy.
True.
Talking to someone and being like, okay, this is what's happening, this is how I feel, etc., etc. So for me, I've always found coping strategies to help me cope. And I think, you know, in our space, something needs to be done about healers. We need to be helped, because as much as we can go to therapy and meditate and do yoga, after 30 minutes, a client is ongena. And then you must now pick up and be like, okay, now I must fully function and be okay for this client. You see this client. And then after the client leaves, you are left with the physical problems of this client. You're thinking, oh my God, they're going through a lot. So I think healers as well, we have to learn how to separate between you being Ukatlego and
And
you
you
being at the vessel. So
But
I
I'm
think, yeah.
I hear you, but which is not always as easy as I am a social worker. You end up carrying other things with you. As much as you don't want to, you say, okay, client, wasiza lo muntu, but then you go back into being Katlego. Katlego reflects to say, Eish, people are caring a lot. That's also a stressor to you as a human being. So hence we are saying ukuthi who heals abolokuzana abogogo bethu nabomkhulu, where do they go? Is it a safe space where we understand they're also human? We don't expect, some clients would come and expect you to have answers to everything.
Yes.
Ukuthi, but you're supposed to know things.
Correct.
At the end of the day, forgetting that you're still human.
Yes.
And then as much as the meditation would happen,
Yes.
but it gets to you. I like what you
Yes.
said to say also interventions
Yes.
are so important.
Yes.
Abogogo nabomkhulu needs to know ukuthi you need to consult and
Yes.
say, you know what, I'm going through this.
Yes.
Or the problems of the people that are coming in, I feel sometimes ukuthi they are overwhelming for me.
Yes.
And then I think also that's a space where you need to come in and say, when do I take a break?
Yes.
Time out for yourself to say, can I not see people for a certain period of time so that I also heal, I also rejuvenate and find myself?
I think in this space, because I'm in this space now, I realize ukuthi there's just a lot of things that need to be fixed. But we can only do so much as people. Remember, mangena endumbeni, I'm no longer ukatlego. I'm umkhultao. Mangiphume endumbeni, then I can be ukatlego.
Yeah.
Ukatlego will stress about the problems that the client has. Ukatlego will have depression. Ukatlego will have anxiety. Ukatlego will feel these kinds of emotions because why? You're human at the end of the day. And I think in the community, people expect us to be strong. Inyanga does not cry. A healer cannot have mental health issues. A healer cannot break down. You must always be the pillar. Melubinsiga, always. But who now pillars you when you need to be pillared is a question that I always ask myself, and I'm in search of that. And if umuntu, anyone, can answer me and give me a proper answer, ngizomnika imali. Ngizomnika imali ngoba I need to know
Yeah.
kwenzakalani after I leave Indumba.
Yeah.
Ngikhafulele kuphi? If anyone can give me that question, ngizoba right.
And there's other things as inyanga that you cannot just say to anybody.
Exactly.
Just anybody, because kuba neimfihlo, kuba nama rules within ubunyanga to say
Yes.
you cannot just come back home, uyaguma and say, this is what happened.
Exactly.
It's now breaking confidentiality of
Exactly.
this client as much as uyinyanga, but there's still rules and regulations also to that. So you can't just go to anybody. When, according to you, how do you think we create that safe space for inyanga to, whether be it ama committees or inyanga, to say sisizana kanjani, kwenzakalani? How do we save also ourselves in the process of saving the world?
I think we need to, as healers, Nati, we need to form allies. We need to be combined. We need to be united. Sikwazi ukuthi sizane because we face the same situation. I think also the people that can help traditional healers come back to themselves is the community. If they are understanding of what we do, then we're gonna be fine. Because now we are caught up in a space where you always have to always explain what is it that you do. Because now here you're not only dealing with client issues, you're dealing with always having to speak up for yourself. Good to know, I don't do this. This is what I do. This is what traditional healing is about. So I don't think people understand Uguti. Traditional healers are burdened, right? And when they are burdened, as much as we can be 5 in a room, sibe inyanga zonke, rekasi peti really one. We'll have a problem where we're like, okay, who do we
need
now
external-
take this problem to? Who can help us? And then that's where now I'm a union.
On my feet, the underdog, and I won't be beat. Turn the lights up now, welcome to the show. I ain't never
Are you a musician?
all I know. My eyes on the prize until I die. I'm gonna rise like
The Dream Stream Music Studio is now available on Sundays for only 295 rands per hour.
we work for a fall in line. We gon' give it our all until the end, until the end of time.
It includes a 12-channel desk, a variety of mics and cables, electronic drum kit, and a laptop for recording. Terms and conditions apply and booking is essential. Contact studio at dreamstream.co.za for a site visit.
that are, protecting traditional healers come in. We now have to work together, hand in hand with AMA Union, and say, okay, King, how do we become better people? How do I now heal while saving the world? Because remember, this is an emotional journey. As much as it's spiritual, it's emotional to such an extent where you lose yourself every time. But you have to come back to yourself, because kunalento ikumbuzayo ukuthi no, ubuhlali that you're wearing, you're not wearing it for fashion. You have a commitment. You have a purpose. This is an alignment with purpose. So you remember, okay, now I'm sad. Okay, after 2 minutes, now I have to get back my groove again. Because why? Your beads will always remind you, Uguti, this is not about you. It's about the people.
You actually have a bigger destiny
You
than
have
what you...
This gift is even bigger than me. So ubuhlali bakho will remind you, Uguti, no, remember who you are. Remember why you took this journey. Remember why you're doing this. And then I'm not saying it's going to be fine, but I'm saying it will give you direction in a sense of purpose. Okay, this is where I reset. This is where I rebuild. I have days where I'm like, I'm not going to see clients. And I'm thankful to be in a space whereby people respect that. And I'm like, today I cannot and I will not, because why? I have to take care of myself. It helps being self-aware. You know when to shut down. You know when to come back again. That's it. Simple.
Okay. That's amazing, Mkhulu, what you just said, to say AMA unions need to come in. We need to actually collaborate inyanga nama unions to say sitting also, as much as we are giving help, but also we need a safe space, Nati. And also people not expecting that it's one, it's just that you will know an answer to everything. Sometimes ezinye izinto umuntu uzoza kuwe and need answers, only to find out that they already have answers. So thina mesiya inyangeni, you would think ukuthi hayi ngizofika kwaMkhulu Tau and then hayi izoba supernatural magic and then zonke izinto zenzeke. So Mkhulu, there's also this thing ukuthi people would say unyanga has become fashionable.
Yeah.
What's your take on that?
Firstly, I think it's disrespectful, and I think it's very ignorant of people to say such, because no one comes into this world asking for a gift that requires you to always wear your beads. Do you understand? Traditional healing is such a journey, so much that it takes away from who you are as a person. So when people say it's fashionable, yes, it seems like it's a trend now, but the people must understand it's our ancestors' time now. We are called to rectify generational curses and heal our ancestral trauma. And the only way our ancestors can do that is through us. Because why? We are the 8th generation right now. Because why? We listen. We allow ourselves to be guided. And we are accepting and open-minded. So when people say it's fashionable, it might be fashion to them because they don't understand. You're looking from the outside inside. But to me, because I'm in this, I'm like, if only you knew how I define fashion, you wouldn't be using that word. You'd be using a different word.
And then people, I kind of think, Uguti, they don't know, like you said, for you to get to that point, it's self-sacrifice that had to happen. It's not like you just woke up and said, I'm gonna buy nyanga.
Exactly.
So I think it's also in educating our communities
definitely.
to say, look, it's a burden
Yes.
and a blessing at
Yes.
the same time.
Yes.
Because if you have to carry this,
Yes.
but it's also a blessing because you have the insight to other things that other people don't have insight to. So yeah, I think it's also that.
Yes.
So
Yes.
Mkhulu, while we're talking, kubuya love life yako.
Yeah.
What happens? How do you navigate that? And do you feel good in most cases when men need to approach you? There's a sense of, approach kanjani? And the fact that umkhulu, it means that your character is dominant. So kuba nzima for the other party to say, losis muhle, velu muhle losisi, yazi yonke into it's in place. But do you find it difficult ukuthi people kind of struggle to approach you?
Yes, definitely. I think one of my biggest struggles is that umuntu will see ubuhlali and be like, okay, she's beautiful, she's pretty. And then how do I now approach this person? Then bang approach her. Mascota, abone ukuthi hayi ngikhuluma nendoda
Ziyakhala la.
khuluma nendoda and then wenzani I angisafuni manje. But I think you know what, if only people knew how to love a traditional healer,
True.
then they would see ukuthi as much as I am umkhulu, I am very feminine. I like being very feminine. It's just that because of my entourage, I have to be masculine, and it's not by choice. That's how it is. I'm programmed to be that way. It was chosen for me. So indoda mayifika kimi, they must understand ukuthi they're not talking to an ordinary woman. I'm a very unconventional woman. I am dominant, but will I submit in the end? Yes. Because why? Your leadership will make me want to submit. What you say to me will make me want to submit. Also, it's a mind game, this thing. What you say to me
it's
is what
the
I will
approach
direct
at the
to.
end of
It's
the day.
approach at the end of the day. If I say to you were brave enough to come to me, I'm going to be like, your character is strong, because not everyone can
Not
do
everybody
that.
can do that. Yeah, which is amazing, Mkulu, because of you end up uthole ukuthi people will say ukuba inyanga, you struggle with my relationships, especially abantu abathwele bomkhulu and abantu abathwele abogogo at the same time. Iba yinkinga yokuthi ay kingaka ujola lengaka. Do you know, because of our community has been programmed in such a way to say ukuba ingoma or ukuba umkhulu, it's associated with bad things.
Yes.
I like what you said previously to say this is our time, a time for our ancestors to reclaim their space now. And how will they do that? But it was only through us who are still in existence. So abantu need to also move away from that to saying, ay kingaka utokhona ngaka itofakela bega mina.
Exactly.
So there's those misconceptions in
Yes.
our communities, and I think people need to be educated.
Yes.
Like you said,
Yes.
we need to educate our people. We need to educate i-community esihlala kuyo ney'ngane zethu.
But
So
definitely.
you coming back from home, how's the reaction from your siblings, your mother, the rest of your family?
Yazi mangikhumbula ni, it was very emotional because bengigula kakhulu. Now I come back and I'm healthy.
It's a wow.
Now they're experiencing a whole new me, a different person. And I think that the good thing about this change is that they are finally seeing ukuthi everything has its own timing.
Yeah.
As much as you lose certain things that are materialistic, you gain a sense of being, you gain a sense of purpose, because now you get to a point whereby, I can confidently say, ukuthi Amadlozwane taught me how to pray. There are certain things I came home with that are a bag of knowledge and wisdom that I hope to impart onto my siblings and children, if I may have one day. Do you understand? So I think for me, the reaction, it was overwhelming, because I'm like, they know what we went through as a family. Ukuthi ngifike la ngikhona manje. Ukuthi ngiphile manje. We went through a lot, and people won't know that story unless it's not 3 hours to even dissect the story.
It's that deep.
It's that deep.
So yes, Mkhulu, like you say, you also said something about ukuba nengane.
Yes.
So is it your fear, or is it you saying it'll be a blessing should one of my kids carry this from me?
Yazi, I won't lie to you. I think if I have children and they happen to have a gift, so accept, Anish. Because like I said, this is a generational gift. A gift is a gift. You cannot return a gift. You can't go to American Swiss, buy a ring, and then decide ukuthi now you don't like the jewelry, you don't like the bling on it, now you want to take it back, you want them to do this and that. It's a gift that has to be embraced. I know for a fact, ukuthi, because I carry this lineage in my blood. It's in my blood.
So it's gonna continue.
It's gonna continue. My children are gonna carry this with them. But my only hope is that by the time I have kids, and by the time that this gift manifests in their life, I hope our community will be so conscientized about what traditional healing is, so that they do not have to carry the fear that I carry, which now you have to over-explain yourself, because here you are, you're a traditional healer, you're being associated with bad things. Why is everyone overlooking the good? Why must now I be looked at someone that does voodoo and other funny things? Yes, there are two sides to every story. Let me just say it like that. There are two sides to every story. But people choose to lean more on something that they haven't experienced, something they believe is there. What if ngafika ngathi witchcraft is superstition? Uzongithini? Yabon? So I think our community needs to be extremely educated, but we can only educate people that are willing to learn, because I can only help where help wants to be helped. That's it.
And I think also the beauty of teaching community is
Yes.
you embracing who you
Yes.
are. Walking with pride to say, "Ngumkhulu Tau," and I've no shame with
Exactly.
that. I'm actually proud that me accepting this gift has healed me.
Yes.
Has brought peace within my family.
Yes.
Has brought so much prosperance in my life that I can actually see before ngamukela ubizo lami. So Umkhulu, what is it that you're also busy with? I'm aware that there's other foundations that you are busy with. You're not only in Inyanga, but you're doing things, you're making things happen.
Yazi, I always say I'm a multifaceted young person, right? So I'm busy with foundations. I'm busy with the Nyeleti Foundation that mentors kids. It takes them off the streets. We're teaching them
amazing.
life skills. We're helping them with homework. And I also have my foundation as well, the K Lesotho Foundation, which donates and delivers pads to, high schools and primary schools. And on the side, also I have my production company, I can't say too much about that because, it's still in the pipeline, so, but the day I get to share my gifts with the world, I hope Uguchi people will be willing to accept it from a point of this is a human being and not Inyang. I just hope we just need to destigmatize traditional healing so that when I do give out what I have to give, people don't say, no, a traditional healer did this. They must say, Ukatle Lesotho did this, who happens to be a traditional healer.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
So emakhaya nizwile ukuthi bathi inyanga nazo ziyalufuna uthando, and it's only a brave man that can accept ubunyanga. So from us sithi makudede ubumnyama kuvela ukukhanya, kube chosi kube hele. Till we meet next time again. Goodbye.